Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Friday Pick Show here on the channel. Week 6 already of the 2024 NFL season. Davis Mattek and Rich Hribar with you. We are picking our 5 favorite games against the spread in the NFL this week. And dare I say, Rich, football might be back. Football might be back. Touchdowns are being scored. Explosive plays are happening. You know, I just like... There's about 20 teams in the NFL now that I feel good about, and you and I are going to be diametrically opposed on this one, but I think the Patriots could join them as well. You are not going to be with me on that one, but I think football might be back, man.
We just got to fast forward to October every year. We just got to skip September.
Do you is it truly as simple as these teams don't practice enough?
No, it's a conglomeration of a lot of different things, right? Like, I mean, you have the preseason factor. I still think big picture, like the offensive line, the state of the offensive lines across the league are still a pretty big issue. Sack rates are still the highest they've ever been in the NFL, and that obviously we know. Done a lot of work on the the rate of scoring, like on drives where you have a sack or not. It's basically equivalent, like the next step down from a turnover. Like if you get sacked, don't tell Joe Burrow that, he won't listen to you, but that's also true. So we seen last week too was the lowest rate of zone coverage the NFL played. So hey, they're trying to do things. We saw big plays, but that's what we missed, the long touchdowns, right? Like last week had all the long touchdowns. So if we can get those back, like that'll be fun. So that's how you get those big fantasy points. And we should have had one from DK Metcalf last night and probably Isaac Garendo, but pain.
So like watching that play, I'm going to be honest, I did fall asleep at halftime of that game. So watching that back, I thought he was trying to do the classic, like Shanahan told him don't score. Although that would have been crazy for Shanahan to tell them don't score 80 yards away from the end zone.
Right.
that would have been insane. By the way, Kyle Shanahan, I know they won that game. I mean, he is a loser, right? He's a loser. Like Kyle Shanahan,
I'm convinced that Kyle Shanahan had an anytime bet on a Kyle Juszczyk touchdown last night because they called like 3 plays for him in the red zone. Like the first 2 are horrendous, and then he got the last one. I was like, this dude must have a bet in on him or something.
This is a great point. The illegal shift, the illegal motions one, these have been the most annoying ones where it's like barely a violation, it's barely a foul, but then we're getting touchdowns wiped off the board for that. All right, Reeb. So let's go ahead and get into it. We if you guys are new to the show, there are sometimes new viewers to the program. Basically, Reeves and I are going to go through and we're going to pick our 5 favorite games against the spread. I've got the nice little unabated odds screen up here. We go in descending order from our least favorite to our most favorite pick against the spread. Reeves, let's hear it. What is your 5th favorite pick against the spread?
I mean, trying to find 5 games, absolutely brutal this week to even want to bet any of these lines. I'll start with the Commanders just by default of the fact that dogs of 6 points or more are 15-2 against the spread this year. And we've kind of done that a little bit by laying some of these points, even like the 49ers last week, or it's like -7, or like the Chiefs a couple weeks ago, right? Like against the battered Chargers. Like these games are just playing too tight. And if all the teams that are getting 6 or more points this week, they're probably the one team I believe that can actually score points. So that's just by the default. I'm like super confident in it. I'm just kind of taking those 2 trends. I had to find a 4th and 5th game here, so I'll pick that one.
So this is pretty interesting. I had the Baltimore Ravens as my 3. And by the way, I knew I wanted to make a pick on this game, and I didn't know which direction that I wanted to go.
You bet the over, man. You bet the over.
Yes. So, well, actually, Reeves, let me present an alternative reality that no one wants to live in. We basically have not seen Jaden Daniels meet any resistance yet. We've not really seen Jaden Daniels play poorly. If I posited you Jaden Daniels just plays well for all 17 games of his rookie season, you say no chance, right? He's gonna have some clunkers in there. So what might be a situation where he has a clunker? This would be maybe a rivalry game. This, I think, qualifies as like an actual rivalry game. Maybe not. Maybe that is stupid analysis. But
crab cakes and football, baby.
Crab cakes and football, baby. That's what they do in Maryland. But basically, the Ravens are this veteran unit. They've been around forever. Although apparently things have gotten so bad with their defense that they brought in Dean Pease. Remember Dean Pease? They
He was
brought him
there.
in as a senior advisor. Yeah. So basically, I'm on the Ravens for two reasons. The first is, I mean, Lamar is actually playing better than even his 2019 season right now. We did that sample on the show last week of his EPA plus CPOE for weeks 3 and 4 versus weeks 1 and 2. Well, guess what? It's even better now after what he did against the Bengals last week. He's running really well. He just is, I don't know, man. He's just dialed in. He really is just dialed in. You are right. It's a lot of points. I don't love 6.5. I would obviously prefer it at 6. I wonder if there's nowhere you can get that you can get a 6. But I still have it at 6.5. I basically just think the Ravens on offense have become the Death Star we kind of always wanted them to be. Like Henry is killing the early down runs. Justice Hill is one of the best long down and distance backs in the NFL. And the Commanders' defense is still awful. That's kind of been the underreported thing. They are, I believe now after last week, because they got to face the Browns, I think they are 31 out of 32 in EPA per play on defense now. They were 32 out of 32. Like if the Ravens want to hang 45 here, they can hang 45 here. So that is where I'm at. I took the Ravens. Not to besmirch you, but I'm on the Ravens side here.
I mean, like I said, I don't even love it. I just put it as a 5th game based on like those trends that these big dogs have just absolutely been smoking this year. If you've been taking the points this year, the large points, like you've been cashing.
Well, not only large points. I saw Ben Fox tweet this the other day. It's like underdogs of 6 or more points are like
they're 10 and 7 outright.
I was gonna there it is. Yeah, it's that they've won 60% of their games roughly, which is insane.
And then like I looked at some of the other like large totals, and it's like, am I gonna take the Patriots? Like the Drake May's first career start, they are at home.
Maybe.
I kind of looked at it and I was like, there's no way I would even like bet that, right? Like at least the Commanders I know potentially could score some points in like the range of outcomes. I would say like first half over is like probably the best bet to make.
Yeah,
in this game.
I like
maybe
that.
full over, something like that would be the better bet to make. And then you've got a lot of player prop stuff in this game that looks really good.
Yeah, it does. Okay.
Terry McLaurin longest catch.
What would his yardage
is that going to be on the Underdog? Are we going to look for that later?
It might be. Yeah, it might be. It might be.
All right. Teaser. Hang around.
My number 5 is a quarterback I don't have a ton of faith in. The Indianapolis Colts getting 3 points on the road to the Titans. You know who I also don't have a ton of faith in? I also don't have a ton of faith in Will Levis. I think the Titans defense seems good, but their results, they face some pretty bad teams thus far. Just awful quarterback play. Now, Anthony Richardson versus Joe Flacco, who would I rather have quarterbacking this team? I suppose with Michael Pittman Jr. out and Josh Downs maybe not playing, maybe you actually would rather have Anthony Richardson and just say, you know what, we're just, this is old school ground and pound. We're basically running the wing tee against you guys in this game. Trey Sermon and Tyler Goodson are going to run 30 times, and Richardson's going to run 11 times. Either way, I just feel, and the Colts defense is bad, but it's bad in such a way that I don't know if the Titans are built to take advantage of it, because they basically have the worst secondary in the league. But what is Will Levis going to do? Like, I think Will Levis is coming in and dicing up the Colts secondary. I don't think so. So to me, this was like, I mean, I think the Colts are a better team. I think the Colts are better coached as well. Shane Steichen seems like he really is actually a good coach. Seems like he does know ball. What do you have on this one?
Yeah, I don't have anything on this really, just because the state of the Colts, they just have so many guys that are injured. And if we don't have Pittman, we don't have Downs, we're not expecting Jonathan Taylor. They might get Kwity Paye back. Maybe Kenny Moore comes back, but they have 4 defensive linemen IR right now. It's just like, I think the plan actually isn't to do anything with Will Levis. It's to just hand them off to Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears as much as affordable and try to get the hell out of there. But, the state of the Colts just scare me. And I don't believe in the Titans defensive metrics right now because they haven't played any quarterbacks, but I do think that they've improved from a personnel stance based on last year. It's just, I have no real strong conviction on this game in either direction. I do kind of sort of like a gross DFS play in this game in DeAndre Hopkins.
You could definitely talk me into Hopkins or Ridley in this game. Yeah, no question about it. I think you could talk me into either one of them. All right, that was our number 5s. Reeves, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is the Broncos at home +3. I think they're live to just win this game outright. The last 3 times the Chargers have been road favorites in Denver, the Broncos have outright won all of those games. I think we've seen some stability from Bo Nix. Not that he's good. I just think he's been functional and he's using his legs. Like, his offense has kind of played okay-ish, at least enough to win games. And then the defense has been awesome all year to start the season. I think that continues. And the other reason too I like this game is because the Chargers are like completely doing everything that we thought they would do, which is playing suboptimal football.
It's so bad. Yeah.
Rashawn Slater might not play in this game. We might not have Derwin James in this game. We'll see if Bosa is up for this game. But the 61% of the Chargers set of downs have reached third down. It's the highest rate in the league. Now, why is that? It's because they just want to line up and have inefficient runs on early downs. They only have a 41% drop back rate on early downs. It's the lowest rate in the NFL. Surprise, surprise, right? Well, they only have a 32% success rate on those runs. It's ahead of only the Raiders. So, like, they're not even playing like the kind of football they like that is like, I mean, it's like Anthony Lynn shit, right? Like, and we expected this from this unit, but we've seen that if J.K. Dobbins doesn't break off like a 60-yard run, like, this offense just isn't very good.
They got nothing. Yeah.
And I don't think they're going to have passing success in this game when they do drop back and throw against this Broncos defense. It's not even just Patrick Surtain. Riley Moore has been incredible. Like, this pass defense has been really good.
PS2 and Xmoss 360. People are calling him.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm taking it. I'm taking it here. I don't believe in the Chargers basically at all at neither side of the football.
So I don't have this one, but I'm definitely inclined to think that your side is correct. I mean, that Broncos defense looks pretty strong. It does look like that unit is coached up pretty well. We also get the classic, the Broncos early in the season.
Teams are worse off the bye. Like, if you look at like NFL trends, teams are actually worse against the spread off the bye.
Huh. I would definitely not think that. I mean, not that I think that Greg Roman and Hribar like in the lab designing the perfect play. Like, Hribar to me has always seemed like more of a, Hribar he's the leader of men. He's not diagramming plays. He's not pressing the edges, I mean, do the Chargers have more talent than the Broncos? Sure. I mean, the Broncos are 3-2. They're overachieving with a crappy roster. And did you see the video of Bo Nix and Sean Payton arguing on the sideline? Like, that to me, let me get in my football guy bag here for a second. I actually love that. I actually really like that. Man. Yeah, I was like, yeah, Bo Nix, like, don't be. Like, get into it. Like, get into the game. Like, tell Sean Payton that he, like, I don't know. I love stuff like that, especially because Nix is
from a rookie too. Well, although he's 30 years old.
He's 30 years old. He's like, you know what Nix is, Reeves? He's kind of like Minshew. Like, he's just a gamer. He's like, I can win these football games, even if he can't. I just, there's something about Bo Nix I kind of like. Like, I think Bo Nix is gonna stick around as kind of like a Ryan Fitzpatrick-y guy for a while. And the market kind of tends to underrate guys like that and tends to really overrate guys like Justin Herbert. Like, is Justin Herbert the most market overrated quarterback in the history of the sport? Like him and Andrew Luck. People don't like my Andrew Luck takes, but yeah, that
we don't like
yeah, those takes. Yeah, the people don't appreciate it. So I did not have this one. Reeves, I have one that you are gonna find. You're really not going to be on board with this one. My number 4, I'm taking the New England Football Patriots, and I'm going to take them at +7, which you can get. I know on Unabated it shows at 6.5, but you can get the 7 at Circa. You can get the 7 at Caesars. You can get the 7 at Bet365. So I'm very comfortable taking 7 as my number here, and I'm on it for 2 reasons. The first reason being,
we just went through the stats, man. All these dogs.
Well, the Texans offense without Nico Collins, so they can't run the ball at all. Mixon might play in this game, which would improve it. But without Mixon, they've basically been one of the worst running offenses in the NFL to the point that they gave up on trying to run with Cam Akers last week and were running like Dare Ogunbowale has been around so long that Dare was once used as a reason to fade Ronald Jones as a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ronald Jones not even in the NFL anymore. He was teammates with Ronald Jones in Tampa Bay. Like, this dude has been around forever. They can't run. They don't have Nico. Tank Dell, God bless him. You know, it's a broken leg. The guy's coming off a broken leg, and he also got shot in his leg. So it's basically, and the Patriots defense, you know, they're what do you think? They're like the 7th best unit in the NFL, 8th best unit in the NFL, something like that. Like, it doesn't matter because the offense has been so bad. Just like the Browns. Like, the Browns defense maybe conceptually is good or has good players, but because every team is just teeing off on them, they have no chance to like regroup and strategize. But the Patriots defense is pretty good. But really, obviously, this is much more about my boy, Drake May, getting 7 points in his very first home start. It's going to be, what I think is going to happen is I think this will be a classic hair on fire quarterback game. I think he is going to do some stuff that's really stupid. He's going to take a couple bad sacks, probably a bad interception here or there, but he's going to generate some explosives. He's going to push the ball down the field. I believe the Patriots still do not have a passing play over 25 yards. I need to fact check that, but I believe that it is true. And they will get one of those this week against the Houston Texans. So I have the Patriots +7 against the Texans as my 4.
Yeah, I don't hate. Like I said, if you've just been reason these dogs are getting this many points are because objectively that it's not good, right? So, but if you just were blind betting these spots, though, you've been absolutely raking. And if you're going to take a lot of points against a team, like have it be against a team like the Texans, who also do not play optimal football. 30% of their set of downs have been 3rd and long. Only the Browns are worse than that. They're asking CJ Stroud to be a hero on 3rd downs again, the Bobby Slowick way. Now, granted, they haven't had Mixon since week 1. While Mixon played in week 2, they were doing this shit though too, and they weren't having any success. But Bobby Slowick wants to run the football on early downs, so they don't get any yards, and it's all right. CJ Stroud bail us out, and he has been good on those 3rd and longs. But like you just can't sustain offense that way. So if you're going to bet against the team with getting a lot of points, you have it against a team that just like doesn't do things functionally the correct way, like the Texans.
Yeah, it's the Shanahan disease. It's the you know, it. I don't know what it is. I don't really know why. Why are the McShanny guys so obsessed with running the ball like that to the point of like giving up edges? Because they're clearly so smart. They're clearly so good at other aspects of the game, at diagramming plays. It does not make any sense to me. I don't get it at all. But it's a flaw. It's a flaw in McVay. It's a flaw in.
It's everywhere. It's consistent with everyone except for probably McDaniel a little bit, but.
Would you say? What about KOC? He might not be as bad.
Yeah, he definitely probably isn't as bad. I'd have to look at like his historical thing, but and definitely not Stefanski this year. Although they have a whole nother set of issues.
God, don't want to touch that with the don't want to touch that. Oh yeah. All right, we are flying through. That was we've done.
Yeah, I mean these games, like I said, I there was 3 games I largely liked. I kind of just found 2 that were like, yep, I'd stick these in there at the end.
Yeah. All right, there we go. So I've done my 5, done my 4, and I've actually already done my 3. So there you go. It's on you. Where is what's your number 3?
My 3 is the Steelers. Against the Raiders, who Antonio Pierce is already going to the quarterback transition here. They might not have Jacoby Myers either in this game. They basically should have won the game against the Cowboys. So I mean, it's just hard. It's just like I just think the Steelers are their defense is too good. They're going to be able to move the football against the Raiders here, even if they don't have George Pickens off the field. Have you ever seen a guy just like nonchalantly just like get thrown to the ground like George Pickens threw that dude down by his face mask last week?
George Pickens is a dog, man.
Like I ain't messing with him. But yeah, it's really just the short end of the stick. Like they're going to be probably missing one of their tackles here. in this game, the Raiders. So it's like, I think the pressure will get there from TJ Watt. It's just kind of the Steelers doing their Steelers boring thing. They probably win this game like 19-10 or something stupid. And we just don't get any fantasy points and don't really enjoy the game.
Yeah, this was my number one.
Okay.
How exactly do we expect the Raiders to win this game or to cover here? Like they could have, there was a moment in that game against the Broncos that they could have went up 17-3. So Gardner Minshew rolls out to his left. Brock Bowers is uncovered, completely naked. He's got a walk-in touchdown. Minshew sails it.
Yep, the pick six.
Patrick Surtain comes down with it, runs the other
way. Chalk defense and DFS gets there.
Chalk defense and DFS always gets there.
Gross.
The Steelers are not a good team, but they are a good defense. Justin Fields is actually, you know what? I'd actually like to give some credit to him. He's actually playing much better than you would think. He's limiting some of the sacks.
Well, yes and no. It's like kind of a mirage though. Like he's playing better. It's like Daniel Jones 2 years ago is the way I described it. I think a couple weeks ago.
He's paint by numbers quarterbacking.
Yeah.
So right now, Fields is 12th in EPA plus CPOE composite. Generally speaking, this stuff does not like Justin Fields as like the advanced stuff.
He takes a lot of sacks and he's inaccurate, but his air yards are like cut in half. What is his air yards per attempt this year?
Air yards per attempt. Justin Fields is Stroud's is it's higher than it's 7.4. So it's the same as Bo Nix, right? It's not high. You know, he is
historically he's been like a push the ball down the field guy. And that's
I mean he is a full yard shorter than Will Levis or Kyler Murray or Derek Carr, for an example. I mean I'm not. So like I was always a Fields fantasy slappy, but never like a big the Bears obviously had to trade him. Like I was not one of those people who's like, oh, maybe you trade the number one overall pick. I was like, no, you move on. And to be honest, the Steelers probably, if the Steelers decide to go down this route of paying Fields, like if let's say they do the Steelers thing, they win 11 games and make the playoffs and then lose in the wild card round like they always do, like paying Justin Fields the Daniel Jones contract, I mean, it's probably a mistake. The thing with Fields that is so frustrating that is not like Daniel Jones and these guys, like Tua even, is if you could speed up Fields' processing, what 10-15%, he would be the best. It's not the way it works. You can't do that. No one can do that for him.
This is like the first time too, I think, that the Steelers will have a little bit of success rushing the football. I have not been on this Najee Harris and the optimal thing the last couple weeks. I'm not going to play him in DFS.
I was going to say it's happening again this week.
No. I'm still not going to do it, but I will say I do think they can have more success here. Their offensive line is just so battered right now, missing the 3 starters. But the Raiders' run defense has been so awful. Christian Wilkins is on IR now and expected to miss time. So I don't feel confident in the Steelers' offensive line, but this Raiders' defensive line, outside of Max Crosby, just has no bodies left.
Yeah, I mean, and the Raiders can't run the ball. They don't have Adams. They might not have Myers. Like it's like without that incredible 67-yard touchdown from Bowers, where he beat the safety and like caught a jump ball and turned it into a touchdown. Like, do they even score? I don't know. Like they can't run the ball. Trey Tucker, build the whole plan out of Trey Tucker, I guess. That's the answer.
Aiden O'Connell's got this.
And yeah, God. Whew. Yeah, I think AOC, to me, AOC is worse. I would have went with Minshew too.
Well, I mean, he lost, he didn't win the job. And now, I mean, this is where we are. I feel bad because Antonio Pierce, like, it's just, this guy. I just want to keep betting against Antonio Pierce too. Like this guy just
except in this game, it's like, okay, you're betting on Tomlin, who like Tomlin doesn't get
Arthur
it.
Smith.
Yeah, and Arthur Smith. These Arthur Smith quotes this week. He's like, yeah, dude, I benched Derrick Henry on 3rd downs. I put AJ Brown on the bench.
Like it's a badge of honor.
Why do I give a shit about George Pickens when I benched AJ Brown? It doesn't matter to me, bro. I'll drop a play for Nick Westbrook-Akine. I don't care. Kyle Pitts, more like Charlie Warner to me. I mean, Arthur Smith.
Wait till Scotty Miller gets on the field.
It's really unbelievable stuff. But there's just no denying that, like, it is kind of working out for them. Like, they are going to accomplish their goals. I would not
Yeah,
be
the
aligned
Steelers are
in
going
what
to
the
win
goals are.
8 to 9 games, lose in the first round of the playoffs, and we'll get to talk about Tomlin's dumbass winning record thing when they haven't even been a contender for over a decade.
Correct. Okay. That was your 3, my 1. Damn,
We just tore down the team we picked.
Yeah. Because the other team's worse. The Raiders and the Browns are like some of the most hopeless situations in the National Football League. All right, Reebs, what is your 2? We already did my 3.
My 2, I do like the top 2 here. My 2 is the Buccaneers. Just this Saints team is down so ridiculously bad this week. They might be down 3 offensive linemen, where we already know Cesar Ruiz isn't playing, or Eric McCoy's not playing. Cesar Ruiz still might not be back, and Lucas Patrick might be out in this game. And then they're turning it over to Spencer Rattler. So, I mean, look at Spencer Rattler. His actual career, he's going to be fitting in really well if this offensive line is down this bad, because he was the most pressured quarterback in this draft class at South Carolina. He also took the most sacks per pressure on those two. Just really bad situation overall for the Saints. I do think the Saints defense will hang around, but also this Bucs offense has been good enough to at least give us a baseline level to when they play competent defenses, they should be able to do something. They did have the Broncos hiccup if you're looking for an avenue to say, like, all right, maybe that doesn't happen here. But I do think that they'll be competent enough to score around 20 points, and 20 points is, I think, going to be enough to cover this year.
Oh man. So, like, I don't think I disagree with where you're coming from, but I don't really want to bet on the Buccaneers either. Also, I think actually, you know what? This is my issue here. My issue here.
Todd Bowles is going to send so much shit at Spencer Rattler.
So this is the thing: is I think I'm coming at this from a place of I can't forget who Spencer Rattler was when he was 18 years old.
No, you are an Oklahoma fan,
and he like young Spencer Rattler was pretty good, and then he kind of found it again. You know, like the South Carolina team that he was on was not particularly good.
Oh no, their offensive line was awful. Just like this one's gonna.
What are you doing with $4,000 Spencer Rattler in DFS?
Hey, listen, you can F around and find out if he gets you 16 points. It's all, to me, all those questions always go back to what is that salary getting you? Anytime we have something like this. So if Spencer Rattler gets you to a piece that you really wanted, like say like you really wanted to play CeeDee Lamb and just couldn't find a way to get it work, and he gets you to that piece, that's cool. Like, right? Like that's when it's fine. It's like, but when people get in these situations and they play just the 4K quarterback to play the 4K quarterback, but don't do anything, like get to actual plays they want to play, then that's when it's an issue. So that's always, I say, when people want to do these things, like why or what is he getting you to? And then let that kind of be your driving factor.
So the issue is there's not really a ton of value guys. There's not really a ton of value guys this week in DFS. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, receiver, we might have some guys, and barring what happens, we're recording this before we're getting Friday practices, but like if Rachaad White doesn't play, then obviously Bucky Irving becomes a cheaper running back. We've had these things kind of open up on Fridays. Last week we had Tyrone Tracy kind of open up. And then wide receiver, we do have a few guys. I think Wicks is still back in play. Jalen Tolbert is a cheaper guy. If you play on FanDuel, Darius Slayton is 5,900 over there. He's going to be in play.
You mean new Malik Neighbors?
Yeah, we talked about DeAndre Hopkins potentially. There are cheaper receivers this week. Running back could open up because if what happens with Bijan, right? Like if Bijan takes a step back and doesn't practice, then you've got Tyler Algier against the Panthers, and he'll be super chalky. And then, like I said, so we'll see what happens this afternoon because we had some guys get downgraded yesterday. And anytime a guy gets downgraded during the week, that's always kind of something to keep an eye on. We did see Bijan go on the injury report kind of a couple weeks ago for his hamstring, and then he played and was fine. So we'll see if that happens again. Also, remember Nico Collins was on the injury report for a hamstring, ended up playing. He crushed. That was like the game he had like 140 yards, but then re-aggravated that last week. So you never know too if it's just something that's lingering and then they make it worse by playing through it.
God damn, hamstring injuries are so brutal.
Every good player we've gotten this year has just gone off. Like we had Rashee Rice breaking out, looked like a great value. Jordan Mason was literally like the best waiver wire guy we had so far this year. He gets hurt.
He came back in the game though. What was your read on that?
No clue. I didn't see what the report was, right? Like they were waiting on MRI.
Seems crazy to not have done the MRI or the imaging or anything and then put him back in the game for one carry.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
one of the
weird.
things we'll have to follow. They do get the longer rest period this week, so we'll see kind of what happens. But
yeah, they get 10 days off.
You still lost him last night though, and he was about to cook.
Yeah, God, he really was. Okay, Reeves, my number 2. I'm thinking this might be your number 1. The flying Philadelphia Eagles.
No, just because of the points. But if you were going to lay a lot of points, it would be against this Cleveland Browns team.
So again, 2 elements here. The first one being the Browns are just like hopeless in these games. Like they get like some teams get down 15 points and you're like, oh well, the back door is so open. You know what I'm saying? Like the back door could not be. Gardner Minshew actually normally is pretty good at this. Joe Flacco is the like.
Yeah, last week was a peak Flacco game, man.
Peak Flacco. Yeah, you get Flacco down 20 points and you're like, buddy, you are going to win by 3. But Flacco is going to give the losing fans quite a bit of fun. The Browns are not that team. The Browns can't. I mean, they really don't have any way to generate points. I suppose at this stage, their only way to generate points would be to become the old Browns and go back into a super heavy rushing team. Just be trying to do what the Chargers are doing or try and do what the Broncos are doing. Just run the ball, I guess. Or like maybe a lot of screens and stuff. And then the other thing on top of that, so you kind of have to get into the psychology, in my opinion. Maybe other people would disagree with this. In my opinion, when you have a big spread like this, you need to get in the psychology of the coach and the players. Like, do they want to win? Is this like betting on the Chiefs as a 9-point favorite? I'll tell you this right now. It's a bad idea. I would not do that against like a JUCO team at this point. The Kansas City Chiefs want to win every game by 3 points. The Eagles, Rich, are in perhaps the biggest need that any contending team has been. They need a get right spot. They need some swagger. They need some mojo. They like AJ Brown needs to score. Devonta Smith needs to score. Barkley needs to score. We need to see a tush push. We need to see the Philadelphia Eagles put some crooked numbers on the board. It's a lot of points. You can get 9. You can get 9 at circa. You can get. Yeah, it's. I'll give myself 9. I'll give myself 9 for this. It's close enough. Yeah, I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles here.
No, I don't mind it. Like I said, my philosophy is just like to just not lay all these points anymore. Like to have those picks on the board. But if you were going to lay them against this Browns team, who might not even have Denzel Ward, Eagles coming back full strength, Lane Johnson coming back, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith coming back. I love AJ Brown for DFS this week, especially if Denzel Ward doesn't play. We know that the Browns play a ton of man coverage, is what Jim Schwartz does. I mean, he has absolutely eviscerated man coverage, especially since joining the Eagles. So I like AJ Brown to come back out of the packaging very hot this week.
Yeah, same. I mean, love him. Love Devonta Smith. I mean, it's the same thought process there, which is, man, they're going to try and score a lot of points, and there's not going to be anyone.
I think you can argue that this Brown situation is one of the worst we've seen in the NFL, because how do you not last week? This isn't how you know something else is going on outside of what Stefanski, maybe the parameters of what he's technically allowed to do. Because how do you not pull him last week, even if you're going to go back? Like, you're down 24-3 at the half against a bad defense. How do you not just like throw Winston in and say like, all right, let's see if we can just catch a spark? And the fact that they just kept pushing him out there. They were dead in the water with like 8 minutes to go. I think it was like 31-3 or some shit. And like, they still put him out there. Like, it's like, there has to be something else going on to where like they just keep bunkering in, because you can't. And there's more going on, that it's not all completely Watson's fault. Like, there's other stuff that's broken beyond Watson. Like, I don't think if Winston plays, it's the Browns are going to certainly start being good. But there's something going on that they're not pulling him. Like, they're not even entertaining it, because maybe Haslam is saying they can't. I don't know, but it's absolutely gross right now.
I mean, Jameis Winston's helmet was on, man. It was on. But what happened? I guess it was they got that turnover and they were like, maybe we can jumpstart something. I don't know. But we almost had it. We almost had Jameis. We almost had him back in it.
I mean, everyone's body language just looks miserable in that organization. No one looks like they're having any fun playing football. 2 weeks ago they played the Raiders and like they were just all yelling at each other. Like when DeJuan Jones missed that block, like it's just real bad. Amari Cooper looks like he's like not having any fun at all. He's hoping he gets traded probably.
Come to Kansas City. All right, here we go, Reeves. We got to lock in. We got a super chat. Plays in
super chat.
Private Sunday to Monday DK contest, winner take all, classic mode. What strategies would you focus on? Oh, I would basically, I'm assuming that this is like 10 people, 20 people, maybe. I would
12, right? Classic mode, 12 teams.
Oh, 12 teams. Oh, I would just play the ETR optimal or like whatever your projection of choice is. Maybe I would do the optimal with like a different second running back or something. Well, you would have to know if anyone else in your league, like how good they were, like if they had what resources they had access to. But 12 people, you pretty much just play the optimal. You don't need to go too crazy in that. I don't think, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, you just get basically if you have like a favorite play, you can maybe swap some stuff in and out. But you always want to play something like that from like a floor perspective up, like almost like a cash game. And then because people always think cash games are to play safe, but it's actually you're playing guys that have a high floor, but also paired with like an inherent high ceiling. That's like what cash game plays are outside of like the obvious cheap punt, like a punt guy. But all these other guys you pick, like who's like a popular cash game play this week? Like Terry McLaurin, right? Like Terry McLaurin.
Tony Pollard would probably be like the most picked guy.
But like you think a guy like Terry McLaurin, he's in there for a reason because like the market share stuff. He projects well from like a usage stance, and then also has a matchup that opens up like the gates for a ceiling. So like those are like the guys that you play. Like so that's what you're thinking about from like a cash game perspective, and then you're going for up from upsides. It's these guys have safe median projections, but they also are paired largely with good ceilings as well.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I would tell you wherever you subscribe to fantasy football content. I mean, rotogrinders, ETR, wherever sort by points per dollar. And just get the highest.
Yeah, and RG is a sponsor here, right? You're doing stuff for RG this year, and RG, I would say, like their lineup HQ is probably the most
it's so
user intuitive. Like it's really good interface.
Yeah, so like that's why I did the partnership with RG. Is I was like the type of people who don't already have a DFS subscription. They're like if they were to try and do like
because based on this, and although he did pay you $20 for your question, I'm assuming he's not going to drop the coin on like an ETR sub. Like
for sure.
I don't think that this just playing in this 12 team weekly thing is probably not something.
Yeah, and you can do the like 1 month of rotogrinders just to see if you like it. I think it's 20. I think it's literally $20 for a month, which is a pretty fucking good deal, honestly.
If you want a way to backdoor your way into an RG sub, I do a show there of the Pick Six with Daigle and Dean, and we do a weekly contest. And if you win that, you actually just win a subscription.
Yeah,
and you get that's a contest you can go play for $5. If you win it, you win an RG sub.
There you go. So follow Reeves. When do you guys do that show?
We do it Wednesday nights. So if you go to the YouTube channel where that show's already run, there's a link to join the DK contest.
There you go. There you can backdoor your way in. Yes, yeah, you can also do this. It's pretty easy to find close to the optimal stuff. All right, Reeves, we've not done your number one. I really thought there was a chance there. What is your?
I don't mind it. Like I said, I just had a philosophy. It's like, hey, getting dragged by laying all these points. Maybe I should stop doing that.
Yeah, it's true. brand new NFL. 9 points is a lot.
My number one is the Lions, though. I think this sets up exactly like week 2 when the Cowboys were 2.5 home dogs to the Baltimore Ravens, and they came in against the team that was run centric and could play bully ball. and they got absolutely bullied. And that was a healthier version of this Cowboys defense, who still projects to be down Micah Parsons, be down DeMarcus Lawrence, and be down Marshawn Nealon now this week up front. So if you're going to face the Detroit Lions, we know in their heart of hearts they want to just come in and jam you up with the run game and just have Jared Goff manage the game, operate an efficient offense. And that's kind of what I see happening in this game. I think the Lions are going to come in and run the football all over the Cowboys and kind of just dominate this game, to be honest. I don't think from a score perspective it's going to be like outlandish, but 3 points, I think that this is a game where you get like a lot of Dak Prescott dropbacks. They maybe have like some flurry in the second half, but the Lions haven't even allowed more than one passing touchdown in a game this year, so maybe that doesn't even happen. But it's going to be a lot of dropbacks regardless for the Cowboys. And I just see the Lions playing the type of game the Lions want to play in this game.
Man, you know what is interesting is, like, I guess what's interesting is just that the Lions defense in general is just very good. They've only allowed 83 rush attempts, period, through 4 games, so just over 20 rushing attempts against. Like, teams can't run on them, don't run on them, they don't want you to run on them, and their pass defense is really good. I mean, the only reason this is not on mine is, like, I just have Jared Goff blinders on. It's so hard for me to bet on Jared Goff. Like, insanely hard for me to get there. Really through no fault of his own. You know, Jared Goff...
He might throw 17 passes in this game.
Yeah. Dude, David Montgomery, man. Talk about a free agent signing that really worked out. The David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs backfield really is strong stuff for the.
And we're seeing a lot of teams try to almost replicate this. Like if you
Chase
look
Brown,
around,
Zach Moss.
Yeah, Chase Brown and Zach Moss stand out. Maybe we start to see this with Tank Bigsby and ETN. Like maybe that's like a thing with that. Maybe that was like part of their vision. We had like Achane and Mostert, like very similar, like archetype splits. That you have this going on. Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler, like we see this kind of being a thing as well. I really wish one of these guys like would open the door because Detroit running back RB1 when the other guy isn't there is arguably the best fantasy player at the position. But you can, I think, kind of get cute, maybe even this weekend, and play both these guys together because they're number 1 in the NFL in backfield opportunities per game. They average 34 and a half combined touches per game. And we know the touchdown equity with these running backs is there. Let me pull it up real fast. I have it in a note in the worksheet. So Detroit has run the ball 51% of time in the red zone, 7th in the NFL. They've run it 70% of the time inside the 10-yard line. These guys just get the football. Like these running backs just get the football in this offense in near the goal line. And we saw this with Jamal Williams a couple years ago too, and it wasn't just last year. It's just continuous. It's pretty crazy. So I think it's interesting if you want to get from a DFS large field tournament perspective, because there's an avenue where like these guys have 4 touchdowns.
I mean, if you said, is it more likely that these guys combine for 4 touchdowns or more likely that Goff throws for 4 touchdowns? I don't know.
And then you can still put your Dallas guys that are popular because Jake Ferguson and Jalen Tolbert are going to be real popular on the slate.
Real popular, yeah.
If you want to get unique playing around those guys, you still can just say like, all right, well, what if I play Gibbs, Montgomery, or both? And there's a way to kind of build a more unique stack because people are going to try to do Amon-Ra or something like that. So I do like from a tournament perspective, these Lions backs. The problem is the other guy always exists, and that's always it sucks.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Which, by the way, I'm so good with Tolbert. Like, man, Tolbert, it's all happening for him because the Cowboys have completely given up on the run. They've been like, we had the reports that Zeke is complaining about his role on the team. Yeah, a Gibbs, that's so true. A Gibbs 35-pointer is coming eventually.
They just haven't had to throw. He hasn't had a catch the last 2 games because they haven't had to pass. And we saw, this game, because this game is the highest total. But last year, when the Lions defense was worse and the Cowboys offense and team was arguably better, they only combined for 39 points. And if you go back a couple weeks ago, the Lions played the Cardinals and they just ran the football the whole game. Like if they're able to just run the football the whole game, like that's what they want to do.
Yeah, it's true. All right, Reebs, you know what it's time for.
So yeah, that's the
an
fun
all
times.
All hires pick'em entry. It's the
What's funny is I think the last 2 weeks we've gone like 7-1 or 6-2 on these.
they both were very close. Yeah. We've been directionally accurate, which is clearly the most important thing. All right, Reebs, who do you want me to check first?
We got to look at the McLaurin, either longest catch or where is thing.
McLaurin longest. He doesn't 24 and a half.
Yeah, you want to do that? 25-yard catch.
25-yard catch. That feels pretty strong.
All those feel pretty good to me, though. All those look good.
True. What is Jaden Daniels passing? Jaden Daniels, 224 is pretty high for Jaden Daniels passing. Can I interest you in a Jaden Reed touchdown?
I mean, yeah, I don't mind any of the Jaden Reed stuff. I like the yards too. Yards, catches. Probably not the catches as much. The yards I'd be feel a little bit better with, or the touchdown.
I'm gonna do the touchdown.
You like touchdown bets more than I do.
Well, so Neil Farley did. He actually posted in the comments of the last pick'em video the even very slight multipliers really help you when you're doing the 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 leg stuff, because there's like an exacerbating effect with the multiplier basically against the rake. So even like a 1.11x multiplier is fairly meaningful. But also I just like to bet on touchdowns.
Yeah. I also like Josh Jacobs again in that game. What about any of these Falcons guys like Drake London? Obviously, we don't know if Bijan's playing. We'll wait and see if he practices today. But any of that stuff, Darnold, Mooney, Drake London.
Let's check Mooney. Mooney's are pretty high.
Wow! Oh wow! His yardage is almost the same as McLaurin's.
Yeah, London feels all of these for London feel better. Longest reception, yards, touchdown. Probably not receptions. Did any of those look really good?
I mean, I think he's a really good play.
All right.
So any of that stuff looks good. What about AJ Brown? We talked about AJ Brown.
AJ Brown, yeah. AJ Brown. There's your lock of the week. AJ Brown is scoring a touchdown this week. 1.28x. I mean, come on, folks. Make it hard for me, Underdog. Make it difficult. Make me think about it before I want to click on it. All right, let's go by game. Maybe that's an easier way to do it.
We talked about Hopkins. His shit's probably low.
Oh, I was gonna say I bet his shit is really low. Pollard touchdown I like. Pollard yards I liked. Pollard rush attempts are good too. Hopkins 40.5 receiving yards, 3.5 receptions.
Oh wow. Yeah, I like all those. Any of those you want to do?
Let's do yards. All right.
Yeah, let's do a little Hopkins.
Detroit, Dallas. I mean, we got to take a David Monk. Do we have a touchdown for David? No touchdowns for David Montgomery.
What?
Yeah. No, there we go.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Negative multiplier. Can't do it.
They know it. He scored in like 7 straight games.
Yeah, it's so if he scores in this game, he will have tied Walter Payton's streak for rushing touchdowns in a row.
I think Kyron has the same streak though too. I think Kyron is tied with him, but obviously he doesn't play this week. But Kyron scored in like 7 straight games going back to last year too. And his streak is actually true because Montgomery played a playoff game without a touchdown. So Kyron's is legit. Kyron has a more legit claim.
Okay. All right. Tolbert, 44.5 feels pretty fair. What do we have on Rattler? What do we have on Olave? I'd like to bet the over. I'd like to get the over on Olave receptions. Did you see the quote from Rattler this week?
Yeah, I saw him talk about getting him the rock.
Like I just want to get that guy. I just want to get that guy the rock. All right, Reebs, can I sell you on higher Drake May passing yards, 158.5?
Sure. I'll buy it. I got a gross one for you that might be fun.
I love it.
How about Daniel Jones rushing yards?
Daniel Jones rushing yards. They don't have
the Bengals have allowed all these quarterbacks, and not just because they faced Lamar Jackson and Jane Daniels, but Jacoby Brissett had 32 yards against them, and Mahomes had 29 rushing yards against them. Is there nothing? Because the game's on Sunday night.
Yeah, and I was trying to look and see if they had anything.
That's a fun one.
Trying to see if they had anything on Eckler, but they do not.
Probably because the question B-Rob hadn't practiced. Yeah. I don't know if he practiced today or not.
Can we get anything on 4.5 receptions for T? They're really using him this year.
Yeah, because no one's like really stepped up in the Tyler Boyd. So this happened with Kittle too. So like it used to be the 49ers guys always like one of them was kind of always the odd man out. And you can say kind of Ayuk has been that this year, but Jordan Mason doesn't get targets. So
yeah,
he doesn't, those Christian McCaffrey targets have kind of led to Kittle getting more targets this year. And it's been great for his fantasy floor this year.
Yeah.
But that's what's kind of happened with the Bengals because Tyler Boyd is gone and Yoshivach hasn't absorbed Tyler Boyd's targets. And T's kind of gotten those the last couple weeks.
What about, do you have any thoughts on this? Jaguars defense just gives it up to everyone. Do you have thoughts on DJ, Keenan, or Rome?
I prefer DJ more out of all of those guys.
Yards.
They also give up a ton of receiving yards to running backs. If Swift's receiving yards are like really low.
It's really low, 18.5.
Yeah, every running back they've played except for one has hit that, and Swift's hit it 4 games in a row.
All right, there we go.
That one's kind of fun.
We need 2 more. Tank Dell. Can we get Tank Dell or Diggs? Tanks are pretty high.
They're juiced up.
64.5 receiving yards for Diggs. No Nico feels very low. Touchdown, maybe.
What about Chris Godwin?
The Juju roll. 5.5 receptions. Longest reception.
So we have the rivalry game. There's very few NFL rivalries, but Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans is a real rivalry. So Chris Godwin is actually, so he's run 306 routes. Like this isn't even a small sample, 306 routes with Evans and Lattimore on the field in these games. And on those plays, he's been targeted on 25% of his routes. He's got 27% of the team targets. Mike Evans, 15% and 16% on those. We just saw the Saints give up 100 yards to Juju Smith-Schuster. could be a Godwin spot.
Juju Smith-Schuster. Yeah, I like the Godwin flop leg. Let's do that. All right, Reeves, we need one more.
Who else you got? Do you have another favorite play this week?
I'm trying to think. I mean, Tolbert really is the one of the guys Fields rushing touchdown. Yeah. Fields rushing touchdown. Do you like 38.5 rushing yards or the touchdown more? Probably the yards.
It's tough because like he doesn't run around totally. If they control the game, maybe he doesn't run around crazy.
It's just that he just always does it around the goal line. All right, let's see.
He's the last quarterback that has every team touchdown.
Incredible. It's just really insane stuff from the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, boys, we are locked in. Terry McLaurin, higher longest reception. Jaden Reed touchdown. AJ Brown touchdown. DeAndre Hopkins, 40.5 receiving yards. Drake May, higher passing yards. DeAndre Swift, higher receiving yards. Chris Godwin, higher receiving yards. Justin Fields to record a touchdown. I've posted that in the chat. I mean, come on, we're not taking lowers. We're not taking lowers.
No, we never
on the program.
We're here for
all right, Reeves, I got to get you out of here. You're going to go do the show with High Low. I'm going to be back in an hour to do the Pick'em stream. Tell the people this weekend what they can find.
Yeah, sharpfootballanalysis.com. Just writing up these games. You can always check out the primetime games for free. Had a really good read on last night's game. So hopefully if you are reading the Monday night game, I've actually got some bold takes. I think this is going to be a Breece Hall game this week.
There you go. Breece Hall game. All right, everyone. Have a great day. I will see you back in an hour here on the channel. Don't go anywhere.